Good morning, friends and neighbors of the Hapeville channel here and far. Dewey here. It is a lovely, cold morning this morning in Hapeville, but it's sunny out, and I figured that I would take a little walk today. Good morning, Bruce. Nice to have you here this morning. All right, so where I'm at today is I am on, and I know this always shows things backwards when I'm in the frame, so it might be a little confusing for you guys, but I'm on King Arnold at Colorado Avenue, right behind me here, and you can see that's where St. John's Catholic Church is. Good morning, Matina. I thought I would start over here because this stretch, let me flip this around so you can see it. This is my friend Chloe's house. Here's Colorado Avenue. Here's King Arnold. And when it goes around the corner, it just turns into Arnold. This is King Arnold. And there is the school. But I figured I would walk over here because I find this little stretch of Arnold, and I think I just find this stretch really interesting because you can see this is where Highway 75 cut through back in the, 60s? So when we walk up and around here, you'll see all these houses that I find fascinating because now they're facing this wall, and I like to imagine what it used to be like. But while we're here, it doesn't, for some reason, the school is not active this morning. What is today? Tuesday? Yeah, today is Tuesday. Why is there no Catholic school today? But that makes me feel good because I'm going to walk back here onto this beautiful piece of property that they have. And I'm sure many of you locals already know about this beautiful artwork that's back here. Good morning, Craig. I am staying warm. I should have brought my gloves. Listen, I'm a Florida boy. I grew up in Orlando, Florida, so it gets below 75 and I'm whiny. But the highway comes right down through here, and we're going to walk up this hill in a minute. I parked in front of my friend Chloe's house and texted her and said, I'm doing a walk. I'm going to walk around your house. And the sun is like right in our face. But I'm going back here to look at this, show you guys this really cool, I don't even know what to call it. I've been back here a few times and seen this. I don't know how long it's been here. I don't know anything about it. I keep saying I'm going to go to the church and find out, but I have not. But from what the locals tell me, I don't know what they do out here. It looks like a sacrificial altar to me. But of course, the Catholics don't sacrifice people. They just judge them. Kidding. Not kidding. But anyway, good morning, Kate. It's an altar or a shrine. That's definitely what I would call it. But what's really interesting about it, it's so beautiful. Someone told me that she is a patron saint of flight, which in this area makes complete sense. And also, I don't know much about the Catholic religion, but I know they love their saints and they have saints for everything. But oh, it's beautiful. And look, it has wings. But I can't believe this sits out here, and it's just so far from the road, and I don't know. Good morning, Beverly. Good morning, Nita. It's such a cool discovery back here. It's just gorgeous. What the heck? Right here in Hapeville. And look at this. This is all tiny little mosaic tiles. If any of you know who made this or how long it's been here, I'm going to walk around the back in a minute to take a look and see if there's anything written back there, but I don't think there is. What I love about this, what this reminds me of is when I worked for the Walt Disney Company. I worked for them for 23 years, and when you go into Cinderella's castle, as you walk through, this same technique is used on the wall in Cinderella's castle, and also in the Contemporary Resort at Disney. There are beautiful mosaic murals like this. Craig says it could be a location for outdoor services. Could be. Kate says, beautiful place for a wedding. It's also a Pokemon Go stop. We walk out there on a regular basis. It's peaceful and a great place to meditate. Yes, it is. Although it's really interesting because the airport is right there and you can hear it. And the highway is right there. I mean, look, that's 75 right there. But my goodness, I love this. I think it's beautiful and I want to know how long it's been out here and who made it. All right. Isn't she beautiful, Nita? Had you seen this when you lived in town? Did you ever come back here and see this? There is a hotel. I forget which one it is, but it's right on the circle that comes off 75. Oh, it says Holiday Inn. No, there's just graffiti back here. Right on the highway she is. But St. John's, from the research that I've done and the pictures that I've seen, St. John's right here, the original building was built in the 50s. And they had a convent over on the other side of town, on the other side of the tracks. Right across from where College Street School is now. The condos that used to be College Street School. They used to have their nunnery over there, their convent. So I would imagine that this has been here since the 50s. I got to get a picture of this. Oh, but I can't do it because I'm going live and we're going to walk away. I'll come back another time. But come on. I'm not a religious man, but I am an artistic man, and that's absolutely gorgeous. Nita says the Catholics were so mysterious. Good morning, Camille. I could just sit here and look at this all day. And there's the altar right there. But it's just such a big, beautiful park and piece of land. I hope it never gets developed beyond this. But anyway, I wanted to show you that. No, Kate, I visited her like 5 or 6 times, but every time I come, it's a mystery to me. But there's so many things about Hapeville that I don't know, and I just have this mental list in my head going, oh, you got to look that up. But, you know, life gets in the way, and this is one of them. This is one of the things that I never quite understood who she is and why she's there. But like I said, a couple of locals have told me that she is the patron saint of flight. And that would make sense. I just don't have any proof of it. But, oh, I just love her. I think it's so beautiful. I'm actually, I just had a thought about how Jennifer Upton does her art, where she photographs cool things and then puts them on her artwork. And I'm surprised she hasn't done that yet. That'd make a beautiful piece of Jennifer Upton transfer art. So now we're gonna, good morning, Judy. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Beth. I remember from the 1960s, so at least that, good. That puts me on the right track. My guess, like I said, the school was built in 50, I can't remember, 55, 59, something like that. And this is all there. So they probably built that at the same time. If anybody has any contacts at St. John's Catholic, let me know. Otherwise, I'll reach out to them. I want to find out what she's called and who made her. All right, so we're going around the curve. Like I said, this is King Arnold, Colorado Avenue. My car, my friend Chloe's house. I parked in front of her house since I know her. But I wanted to come around this way because there's a couple houses over here and a little marker. Just things that I find really interesting. And I don't 100%. I like to know what an area used to look like so I can better understand what it is now, why it is now. And as you can see, this is where, wow, when the leaves fall down off the trees, you can really hear the planes on the tarmac. You hear it? Well, that's a plane taking off. Wow. 100 years ago, if Hatevillians had heard that roar, they would have been terrified. They would have pooped their pants. But it's so common to us. But here it is. Here's the wall. And this is where Highway 75 came through in the 60s. Good morning, Melissa. Kate says there isn't a marker to read. There isn't. Pete read something one day. Could have been in Pokemon Go. Oh, That'd be cool if it gave Pokemon was educational tool as well. So the highway came through, right? So, and I've had several people tell me how you used to be able to drive, I don't even know, Pryor Road used to come all the way down. Don't quite understand yet. And I have a map from 1939 that shows, as we get up to this curve too, I'll talk more about it. But here's what fascinates me. This is the highway, but at one time, and this is the eastern border of our town now, but at one time, there must have been houses on this side to coincide with these homes over here, right? Because they weren't facing a highway back in the 60s. They were facing more neighborhood. And what's fascinating is, depending on what time of day you come here, it's a different experience for these houses. Like here's 195 Arnold Street, which I love. It doesn't say King Arnold, it says Arnold, because as you come around the curve, it turns just to Arnold. Love that house. But here's what I love about this area. Good morning, Sandy. I can imagine before the highway come through, and just how beautiful and quiet it must have been back here on this easternmost part of Hapeville. You can imagine it. But now, especially this morning, what time is it? Oh, good. My friend Chloe just gave me approval to park in front of her house, but I did it already. I forgot what I was saying. This is number 195. But imagine how quiet it must have been to live on the easternmost part of Hapeville. And when you go way back in the research to the 20s and the 30s, well before the highway came through, somewhere over here, I read it in an oral history of someone who was involved in the Boy Scouts at the time. There was the creek came through down further, and there was a huge old tree called, oh gosh, I hate when I'm unprepared. Something tree, hollow tree. Is that right? It was called the hollow tree. And anyway, there's this oral history in the Hapeville history book that talks about how the Boy Scouts they would go down into the woods to the big hollow tree along the creek, and it was so big and so hollow that the whole troop could fit inside the hollowed out tree. And what's interesting, if you go to Google Earth, and in this area, you look above from Google Earth, over there, which is now industrial, used to be stomping grounds for Hapeville kids to go out in the woods and stuff. It's now industrial. There's a little strip of road that you can see from Google Earth that says Hollow Tree Road. I'm 99% sure I'm saying it's called Hollow Tree. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. But there are little glimmers like that of what used to be here if you just research and figure it out. This doesn't even have a mailbox out front. I don't know which one it is. But he clearly do not want you anywhere near his house. I've seen the fella out here before, an elderly man. I've waved to him, riding my bike around. But we'll be able to get a better look over here as the wall gets lower. But there's a huge factory over there. I don't know what they make. Good morning, Jazz. Good morning, Sandy. So now we're coming up to the corner of Arnold and Northwoods Place. And when Douglas and I ride our bikes around over here, we love to come down Northwoods and just put our hands off the handlebars and go woohoo down the hill. It's beautiful down there, but I'm going to continue straight. And we'll take a look over the wall, even though the sun is in the way. But here you go, Arnold Street, this way, Old Jonesboro, that way. It turns into Old Jonesboro, I think right at this curve. But you can step up here and you can kind of see. Good morning, Carol. Carling Black Label used to be on the other side of the highway. Thank you. What is it now, I wonder? But y'all, it's amazing. Back in the 60s, before that came along, all woods, It just blows my mind. And now look at it. I don't know what that is now. Craig also says formerly the Carling Brewing Company. Last I recall, it was a Coca-Cola plant. Well, Craig, that makes sense, because there you go. I had no idea. Because I very rarely get on the highway over there. Don says across 75 there was a cookie company and you could smell the cookies. Oh, was there? Listen, the other thing I wanted to throw out is somebody, I don't know which one of you, but one of our viewers, we're looking down Northwoods Place now. That hill is fabulous for bike riding, and there's a curve at the end that goes to the left. Somebody told me over in this area there was a spot where, like a lover's lane kind of thing called Potato Chip Road. And she said it, I was like, why was it called Potato Chip Road? And she said, because there was a potato chip factory over here. Anyway, I'm going to step over here because you also hear stories of folks who lived here back before it was really overdeveloped. And they would say that they'd come to tops of hills like that while riding their bikes or driving their cars in this area. And before it was all grown up, they will tell you, I could see all the way to Stone Mountain. And I could see how that could happen, because if you dig back in here, look how far back you can see. Carol says, good morning, everybody. Over across the expressway was Potato Chip Road where everybody parked. Well, I got to figure out where was that. Nita Almond says, Charles Chips, Gordon's Potato Chip Company had a plant there. Back in the day, that street was where students went parking. Y'all got to help me find that, and I'll go walk over there sometime. I think I have a general idea of where y'all are talking about. But yeah, back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, probably even the 50s, when you were a kid here in Hapeville, this was not a thing. And you could walk off, you could just, oh, it just is amazing to me. I don't know why it fascinates me so much, but it does. All right, so we're going to continue around the corner here because there's a couple things I really love. Number one, this house, y'all. Oh, and the sun is hitting it so beautifully this morning. This house, I've seen a man out here working in his yard once in my 4 years here. This is number 3443 Old Jonesboro Road. 3443. Come on. How gorgeous is that? And then look, right on the highway. Now imagine, before the highway was built, this house probably was right across the street from maybe another row of homes. I don't know. If not, then he had an amazing view back in the day. Before all that was here, he would have been up on this hill. I walk by this house and I'm just blown away every time. It's so gorgeous if you can get used to the constant hum of the highway. But again, it depends on the time of day. Right now, everybody is headed to work, so it's extra loud right now. And the airport, like, it's beautiful. I just can't imagine how quiet it must have been before. Good morning, my friend Candy. She is a friend of mine that I worked and played with at Walt Disney World for many years. Thank you for being here, Candy. I'm just walking around my neighborhood. I love it. Judy said, I think that was Daniela Bunn's house. The name Bunn does sound familiar, and I think you might be right. There was a horrific motorcycle accident on Potato Chip Road, and a Hapeville High School student was left paralyzed. Oh, that's terrible. They're like, every person probably has a story of a fellow student dying in high school. I certainly do. I found one and posted it a couple months ago. There was someone in a yearbook that I saw, and the picture was dedicated to him. It was in the 70s. And then I did an inquiry from all y'all, and you told me that he had died in a car accident. That was in the 70s. I forget his name. But every class has one, that's for sure. But I love this house. Now we're going to go to the house next door to 3443. Gosh, this is beautiful. I just can't get over it. It's so idyllic. Like if you were filming a movie, you could just take the soundtrack of what's really going on here out and convince somebody this was a Snow White cottage out in the middle of the woods. Nita says, I love the sounds of the city. Trains, planes, cars. I really prefer quiet now. Me too. That's one reason why I left Manhattan. I loved all the noise and activity. Not so much now. Bunn was a builder. He built one of the bridges in Atlanta, or maybe a bunch. You should have spelled bunch, B-U-N-N-C-H, Carol. Just saying. My comedy spider sense just went off. Look at the beautiful evergreen out in the front yard. It's huge. It's been there forever. So is this tree. I've said it before. The thing I love the most about our neighborhood and our town is how different all the houses were. So now we're looking down, as I told you before, now this is Old Jonesboro Road, and looking that way around the curve is Arnold right there. Good morning. How are you? Good. Do you mind that I have you on the... Hey, good to see you. What's your name? Skylar. Pleasure to meet you. Do you live right there? Awesome. I was actually just getting ready to talk to our friends about that little marker that you have, like right here. Have you ever seen that? It's like an old train marker from what I understand. Do you know anything about it? Still? Like they still own it? Ah. Yeah, I haven't been able to understand it 100%, but from what I understand, years ago, a train track came like kind of along where the highway is. Is that right?
So those trees right there?
Yes.
Built in the 60s when this house was built to help the noise.
Right, obviously,
They're
yeah.
all dying, so I've been calling and saying, hey, I've been cutting it down. I've been paying to cut it down because they're dying.
Oh, so it's their trees, and they put that there to keep it quiet here.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it sure is. But yeah, they are. It's been, 50 years?
Right.
Wow. It's a pleasure to meet you, Skylar.
Likewise.
I love this area over here. I'm fascinated, and I try to understand what it, like, I wonder if there were other houses here.
That's Mr. Cole's house.
Mr. Cord?
Mr. Gore, Al.
Oh, Gore.
And he's been there
Oh, my God. Has he really?
Yeah, my grandparents bought that house in 1994. It's my house now.
Oh, wow.
Now it's mine. I mean, you're talking, 30 years, whatever it is.
That's fantastic. This house here, I was getting ready to tell them. I forget who lived there, but back in the... Janice?
A lot of kids.
Oh, does she? What's interesting is I found some research from the... When was the country really up in arms about the A-bomb? That would have been the late 40s, right? And the guy that lived there, I forget his name, but he was the head of the Civil Defense Committee for Hapeville. And he had a whole bomb shelter down in the basement and had it all stocked out. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could go down there and look.
They should probably get out there.
I'll have to find that article, and then I'll get in touch with you, and because you know her. And then,
We're friends.
all right.
On Facebook, so
What's your last name, Skylar?
lawyer, like an attorney.
All right. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to see you. Thanks, guys, for hanging with me. I just learned a lot, and I don't know how much of it you were able to hear, but one of my favorite things is when I'm out and about, people will stop me, and they either go, why are you filming my house? Or they go, hey, I've seen you on Facebook, and my name is Skylar, and that's what he did. So that's cool, because he just told me this was his, what did he say, parents' or grandparents' house, and now he owns it. How freaking cool. And that all of these trees were built by, I think he said the city or the railroad. I don't know. But they're not put there by him. They were put there as a sound barrier, and he says now he's having to deal with them because they're dying and it's loud. Let me scroll back here. Beth says, yes, the Gores lived there in the 60s and the 70s. Oh, okay, that's what he just said. He said he's still there. That there's a man named Gore that still lives there. They went to the Presbyterian church with you. Nita said Robert Gore lived next door to Bunn. Okay. Wait. So this was Bunn. This was Gore. Is that right? Am I getting it right? Wow, you learned so much. So now Skylar Lawyer lives there. What a great name. And I was getting ready. And now I know why those trees were put there. That makes sense. But this is really cool, and this is what I was talking about. I think I had a conversation with Michael Randman. You all know Michael Randman. And, oops, I don't know if I was supposed to do that. But we both are pretty sure that this means railway. Or right-of-way, not railway, right-of-way. I don't know what the X means, but this is extremely old. And it indicates the right-of-way, I think, of the train line that used to go through here. But y'all, like I said, I'm guessing. This whole area fascinates me because this turn of the thing and everything, I feel like I've read that this used to continue this way and you could just continue south. I don't know. Y'all can let me know. But it's just fascinating how this has changed. And as I was telling him, this house right here, which you said, I think you guys said the Gores lived here. Or not, now I get all excited and I can't keep all the information straight. The Buns and the Gores. But this house back in the, hi, good morning. Good to see you.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a little tour. I just spoke to Skylar. He just came out and went that way. But I'm walking around and just talking about the houses and the area. I haven't seen you in a while. There's been a pandemic, number one. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, he was telling me about this house. I can't remember. He said it was his parents or his grandparents?
Well, my parents.
Your parents. Oh, gotcha.
My mom and dad bought this when I opened up on the Bayou restaurant. You know, it was right next to Woodco Transmission.
Yes.
Florist shop.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, my mom and dad for a while.
Gotcha.
Opened up a shop and
Oh, wow. That's quite a drive.
they run off for a minute, and then in the food court somebody was shot and killed. So I said,
Oh.
"Bye, see you later. Let's get all our stuff out."
Tell me your name again. I forgot.
Laura, Schnorr.
Lora. So I'm talking to Laura Short right now. Short. How do you spell it?
SCHNORF.
Schnorf. You've had to do that for idiots like me your whole life. SCHNORF. One F. Gotcha. Laura Schnorf. Some of you may know her. A lot of when I take these walks, some of my friends that follow me are people who used to live in Hapeville. So, like I've got Carol. Well, Carol Stevens still lives here. Nita Almond, Beth Dawkins, Craig Smith, Judy Hames. A lot of folks that used to live here. So when I do these walks, they tell me, "Oh, Mr. Bunn used to live there. Mr. Gore used to live there." And
Mr. Gore still lives
in this one.
there.
Okay, so that one is Mr. Gore's house.
And his wife, I can't think of her name right now, Robert and Sarah Gore.
Oh, gotcha.
And this is Janet. Let's look in her mailbox, see if she's got any mail.
It's such a pretty house. I was telling Skylar just now that I found some research in from 1949 or something like that. The newspaper did an article about the man that lived here at the time because he was the head of the Hapeville Civil Defense Committee because everybody was afraid of the A-bomb back then. And so y'all would prepare, you'd be in school and have to get under your tables. Like that was the consciousness. And he had a bomb shelter in this house, in the basement. Yeah, it's probably still there.
I'm supposed to be in Scotland.
Oh, jeez. You got to go get him. Well, thanks for your time. Nice to see you, Laura. Dewey. Yep. See you around. I remember Laura. I'd seen her before the pandemic started, and I was volunteering at the Depot Museum. I would often see her, but then many of us just disappeared, into our homes and a new way of life. Carol, Nita said, I loved it. Oh, I just read that already. Hold on. Oh, my son is here. Good morning, son. I love you. Taking another walk. Yep, the Bunn's house was next to the Gores. Okay, so now we're at 3435. Look how beautiful it is out today, you guys. I hope you're having a good day. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Douglas and I had a really good one. He made lots of food as if we were going to have people over, but we did not. It was just him and I. He bought a 15-pound turkey anyway, so we could have leftovers. This is adorable. It was renovated within the last few years, 3440. When I lived in Manhattan, I worked briefly for Radio City Music Hall, and I was a tour guide there. And as I walked through, I would often say, this was renovated or this was remodeled. And I remember I kept getting in trouble with the manager because he was like, there is a difference between the word renovated and the word remodeled. And I could never keep it in my brain, but remodeled means they've changed it from its original state. Renovated means they've put it back to its original state. So I use those words interchangeably. Don't judge me for it. This is number 3436. Good morning. My mom is here. My mother-in-law, Jean. Hi. And my son. This is awesome. Craig Smith said there was a bomb shelter in the basement of a house on Myrtle Street, too. I'm sure that several people had them. But a lot of these houses have been updated. I don't know, I can't see inside them, so you never know if they've been renovated or remodeled but I love to ride my bikes down this hill. Did any of you ever ride your bike down this hill? It is quite a thrill, zipping past the Norton's house there. Number 3423. This house has had a lot added to it from its original state, but I feel like they did a great job to it. They added the dormers up above and everything. It's all very cohesive. I like it. Now I'm like a home reviewer. This is number 3424. When the pandemic started, we met the family that lives here because their kids were out here with chalk putting beautiful artwork onto the sidewalk to uplift people. And here's 3415. My son said, I'm the same way about tornado warnings and watches. I can never remember which is which. Oh, son, you live here. You'll learn the difference. A watch, you don't really, it's like just be on alert. A warning means get the hell down under the ground. And that's happened to Douglas and I 3 times since we've been here. We don't have a basement, so we had to run to our neighbor's house. So I'm coming down to the corner of La Vista and La Vista Drive and Old Jonesboro Road. There's the Norton's house. And Craig has said a couple times there was a gentleman that lived there back in his day that used to run the coin op place across from City Hall, and that he was a blind man. Beth says Mr. Russell, who ran a local dry cleaner off Stewart Avenue, lived one up from the corner house where you said the kids were. Oh, up in that direction. Wonder if that dry cleaning builds. Russell's Dry Cleaning. Beth, interesting story. I know exactly where you're talking about. And a friend of mine is trying to buy that building right now. It's empty, although some people left their clothes in there. There's clothes still in there. But a friend of mine has been trying to purchase that building with a little bit of difficulty because it's been a dry cleaners for so long that there's the whole environmental thing of, what chemicals were used there. And I don't understand it all completely, but it's been quite a stressful situation for her. I hope it does happen for her. Mrs. Hasty lived across from the Nortons. Mrs. Hasty, did she live there? So many people, so many lives. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that where Carol, isn't that where you live? Are you watching me from inside your house now? So I'm going to turn around and go back the way we came. But look at this tree, you guys. Oh, fiery reds and oranges. Right across, thank you, Judy. Right across from Mrs. Hasty. That house was for sale last year. Lovely house. So we're going to walk back up the way we came. I appreciate you all joining me this morning. We're walking into the sun a little bit. But I love these homes here this is the North Woods area. And I love these homes because unlike the neighborhood that I live in, which is not too far away from here, these houses have lots of space, land, which is fantastic. Beth said, the red trees are still there. Guy would sell seedlings in the 70s and 80s. Oh, really? Yeah, just look at this. I mean, that's something that I did not know about Georgia when I moved here. Now, these are my favorite. I have one on my porch. This is a Japanese maple. I lived in Japan for 2 years, and I learned that these are actually called momiji. Momiji des. And you can eat these. But in Japan, they deep fry them. And there's a momiji festival that you can go to. Years ago, the owner of the red maple used to sell seedlings, says Don. Are we talking literally this one right here? Or this one? That one's too little. You must be, everybody is telling me that this person that lived here sold seedlings in the 70s and 80s. Wow. The memories, it fascinates me. I have to accept that I can only hear them from you and go, thank you for sharing that. And some things will stick into my brain like little seedlings and connect with other little pieces of histories and stories later on. But for the most part, I just have to enjoy being told and go, there's no way that I can capture all of these memories and document them. But you can get a sense of what it was like here behind me. Oh, yeah, must be where I was. I appreciate y'all joining me this morning. I know I've probably mentioned it before, but mornings are difficult. Mornings are difficult. It's hard to get going. But these walks help. I think there's a truck coming up the hill. It must be trash day on this street. Yep. Although he's alone, he's gonna pick all that up himself? Wow. I've always wondered, this town now is only 2.5 square miles long, wide, 2.5 square miles around. Small town. But even so, just the infrastructure. I can't even think of it on a national scale. But just this 2.5 square miles, I walk around and I go, oh, that pothole needs to be fixed. Oh, that light pole is falling over and needs a light bulb or whatever. I don't know how many people are in our public services department, but it doesn't feel like that many. And a town being so small, it's like, how do we keep up? And I get overwhelmed. I'm like, that's kind of why I don't, like a lot of people say, oh, you should be on city council and get involved and all that kind of stuff. I can't. I'm Sagittarius. That's part of it. And I'm an idealist. And frankly, I'm not really, really good at collaborating. I'm impatient. So if there was a pothole, for example, I'd want it fixed now. And if we couldn't fix it now, I'd want to go out and fix it myself. But then somebody would say, you can't do that because there's laws. I just can't. So whenever anybody says, you should get on council or you should get more involved, I go, thank you for that vote of confidence, but that's just not my lane. I like to share this town with everybody and show it to them, but I leave it to the big boys to make all the decisions on how they're going to keep the wheels running and the lights on. Beth said the Hogs lived across from the street from Darden, all Presbyterian church friends. Now, when you say Presbyterian church, I'm assuming you mean the one over on North Whitney? Isn't that the only Presbyterian church in town? The one over on North Whitney? Sheila Schrock Diedrichson is watching. Hi, Sheila. I've been walking for a little bit, so you can certainly watch this on replay. There's a beautiful tile tile mosaic that I show at the beginning of the walk that you'll not want to miss. I'm tempted to walk down Northwoods Place, but my car is this way and I don't want to walk up any hills. And now I'm walking down a hill. So let me flip this back around. Yes, Whitney. Thank you, Beth. I love that church over there. Just a little tidbit about that church on North Whitney. That church actually began at the, if you can picture this, back in the late 1800s. There's one picture of it in the Hapeville history book. The church, the Presbyterian church that's on North Whitney, that beautiful brick building, that was the second version of that church. The first one was at the intersection of what used to be Stewart Avenue and North Central. On the left, if you were coming down Stewart Avenue and you stop facing the train tracks at North Central, to your left, there's an old gas station there now. It's painted blue now, and it is a Caribbean restaurant. But for many, many years, it was Ricketts. I want to say it was Ricketts gas station. Well before that was even a business corridor right there. That's where the Presbyterian church was first. And it was this beautiful wooden church. So if you have the Hapeville history book, take a look at that. Then they tore it down. I don't think it burned. Churches tend to burn, but I don't think that one burned. It may have. Can't remember. But for some reason, they moved over to Whitney. Good morning, Bob. So what plans do you all have for today? When I get home, I'm going to put on some NPR. I'm going to go into the quiet room, I call it, and I'm going to work on some artwork. Interestingly enough, Douglas and I have a show coming up in the spring, and I have to create a prop for it, a Dragonfire trophy cup. So I'm going to work on that today. I've always found this house to be kind of out of place. You've got all these beautiful homes along here, and then, I don't know, this one is very symmetrical. That's the word I'm looking for. It's symmetrical. At first glance you go, is that a duplex? But not really. But it's interesting. It's got a big, beautiful magnolia out front. And I just saw somebody looking out their window like, what the hell is that guy doing? Oh, look at this momiji tree. Look how long that's been there. Look at the base of that one, y'all. Wow. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Well, that's where I'm parked, right here across from my friend's house. And this is 191. And that's it. I just figured I'd show you this little corner today. It's warming up. The sun is out. I don't mind when it's cold and wintry, as long as the sun is out. When it gets gray and wet, y'all, that's where, woo, it's difficult. My mood changes. So when it gets like that, I won't be doing many walks. I just can't do it. I don't know how these people do it. Like, no matter what the weather is, they get their butts up and go out, but it's got to be purty for me. Good morning, Don and Amber. Trying to remember the name of the family in the house where your friends live now. This one right here. Yeah, this is one of our council people. She lives there, and she's I love her. She's very instrumental in bringing the arts here to Hapeville. The slogan is, Hapeville is a home for the arts. She's the one that most visibly makes that true. So, all right. I really appreciate you all joining me this morning. You have a great day as well, Matina. I'm going to go home and work on some art. And if you have any memories or anything that you want to share with me, if you know anything about that mosaic that we started the walk with, let me know. All right. You all create yourselves a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.